There are a dozen Machiavellian principles silently shaping your life, whether you recognize them or not. Many men drift through the world convinced that respect comes from generosity, openness, and emotional transparency. They assume that being understood earns acceptance, and that acceptance guarantees safety. This belief has been repeated so often that it feels like gut instinct. But the first law, the one that sits at the root of every power structure, is brutally straightforward. People value what you reserve, not what you hand out, without cost. The moment something becomes too accessible, too predictable, or too easily taken, its worth drops, and so does yours. Human nature is calibrated towards scarcity. We crave what is limited, what feels distant, what seems barely out of reach. When you overshare, overgive, or over-explain, you are not showing kindness. You are signaling that your presence demands nothing in return. Look at how people treat the things they struggle to earn. They defend them, speak of them with respect, and fear losing them. Now compare that to the things they receive freely, taken for granted, expected, forgotten, or tossed aside. The partner who is always available becomes invisible. The friend who listens endlessly becomes the emotional dumping ground. The employee who always says yes becomes the one buried in unpaid work. Giving too much of yourself is not a noble act. It's an announcement that your time and your attention are cheap. The real tragedy is not that others use you, it's that you taught them how. The individuals who command respect are those whose presence feels intentional, measured, and earned. You must treat your attention the way one treats precious metal. Rationed, guarded, never thrown around carelessly. Withholding is not cruelty. It is self-discipline. It is understanding that your inner life is not a public fountain where anyone may drink. Intimacy must be granted through merit, not default. A man who speaks seldom is listened to when he does. A man who gives sparingly is appreciated when he offers something. A man who appears less often is remembered more vividly. To hold back is to communicate value. This is not manipulation. It is the underlying structure of human valuation. When you withhold, you do not create emptiness. You create gravity. People lean toward what they cannot fully grasp. They wonder, they pursue, and in pursuing, they reveal themselves. Meanwhile, you remain steady, unmoved by urgency, unpressured by expectation. You do not chase. You draw others toward you. This is how respect forms, not through constant effort, but through carefully measured presence. But power does not rest only in what you keep concealed. It is also reinforced by how strategically you reveal your capabilities. This leads to the second law. Never expose your full strength. Show only enough to warn. The world fears not the punch that lands, but the punch that could have landed. People respect potential power more than displayed power. Once you show everything you can do, imagination dies. They stop wondering. They stop fearing. You become a fixed measurement, and what can be measured can be challenged. The greatest force in power dynamics is not dominance, but unpredictability. It is the aura of more restraint, more depth, more threat, just beneath the surface. Show only enough competence to command caution. Show only enough force to plant the seed of doubt. Show only enough confidence to imply a deeper reserve. Consider the fighter who never reveals his full speed during training, just enough to earn attention. Consider the leader who speaks softly, yet every sentence feels heavy with concealed intention. Consider the man whose silence during conflict unnerves others more than rage ever could. A complete display of power creates opposition. A partial display creates uncertainty, and uncertainty builds control. To master this law, you must resist the urge to prove yourself. You must walk away when your ego craves validation. You must see the broader game and refuse the bait of immediate victories. Real power is never fully shown. it is hinted at. The less they see, the more they imagine. The more they imagine, the more they hesitate. And the more they hesitate, the more they respect you. Authority is rarely taken by force. It is surrendered to the one who appears already capable of wielding it. The world bends toward those who remain unreadable. Now comes the battleground of emotion, where most men lose themselves. Because real control is not held in actions people witness, but in the emotional territory they don't realize is being shaped beneath them. This leads to the third law. Control emotional distance. The one who is less invested controls the bond. Every relationship, romantic, social, professional, operates on an unseen scale of emotional investment. One gives more, one gives less. One waits, wonders, fears, hopes. The other decides. Most people give themselves away too early. They confuse vulnerability with connection, confession with loyalty, attachment with intimacy. They move first, reveal first, care first, and in doing so, they surrender leverage. Emotional distance is not coldness. It is positioning. It is the careful placement of yourself so that you are desired but never fully secured. People chase what is retreating. They grasp for what is slipping. Your task is to exist just beyond reach, not out of sight, but never entirely in their hands. You don't announce your detachment. You show it through what you prioritize. If they demand time, you answer slowly. If they push for emotion, your response is calm. If they try to define the connection, you redirect the question. Your silence becomes the message they must decode. When you maintain restraint, they feel uncertainty, and uncertainty creates value. They think about you more. They revisit your words. They search for clues. In their searching, they reveal their insecurities, their desires, their intentions. Emotional discipline is not pretending you don't feel. It is deciding when your feelings are expressed. To care is human, but to reveal care sparingly is power. Most men assume loyalty is built through constant presence and constant communication. But loyalty does not come from accessibility. It comes from significance. When your attention must be earned, it feels precious. When your presence is selective, it feels important. People fear losing what they never fully possess. Certainty kills tension, and tension is the fuel of connection. The one who invests less does not feel less. He simply refuses to abandon himself in the process. He loves with boundaries. He loves with awareness. He loves without collapsing into need. This is the difference between attachment and command. One sinks, the other stands. And just as controlled distance creates value, calculated warmth creates openings for influence, which leads us into what comes next. Law 4. Appear approachable, but never trust the warmth of a smile. People often confuse friendliness with sincerity, yet the two rarely come from the same source. Warmth is a tool, a carefully chosen mask that softens defenses and quiets suspicion. A smile can be used to gain favor, to appear harmless, to slip past scrutiny, or to hide intentions. Behind a pleasant expression can live envy. Behind a compliment can hide competition. Behind supposed unity can lurk strategic positioning. To operate effectively in any environment of influence, you must learn to distinguish gestures from motives. Trust patterns, not performances. Trust consistency, not charm. Do not become bitter. Become perceptive. Most errors in judgment happen not because someone fooled you, but because you wanted to believe them. Appearing friendly is necessary. Open hostility pushes people away before you can observe them, understand their leverage points, or use the relationship strategically. Friendliness brings access. But access matters only when you keep emotional distance on the inside. This means listening without revealing your core, offering help without exposing your vulnerabilities, engaging with others without placing them too high in your emotional order. Warmth is a tactical surface, not a declaration of loyalty. Those who assume every smile is honest become characters in someone else's game. Those who treat every act of goodwill as manipulation become manipulators themselves. Unaware they are still being guided by other people's hands. The balance is this: be pleasant, but remain unreadable. Speak kindly, but reveal no intention. Show generosity, but hide your dependence. Let people feel near you, while never positioning them close enough to land a blow. Appearing harmless removes threat perception. Without threat perception, you move freely, unopposed, unchallenged. But masks eventually slip. Intentions surface. Someone will test your boundaries, disrespect your value, or attempt to diminish your position. When this moment arrives, friendliness is no longer the tool. Consequence is. Because in every power dynamic, there comes a point where patience must stop and clarity must begin. Power does not survive on tolerance alone. Eventually, someone mistakes your silence for fear, your calm for weakness, your restraint for surrender. This is where Law 5 emerges, like a blade from the shadows. Punish once, and punish with finality. Punishment is not merely a reaction to offense. It is a signal to all observers, spoken or unspoken, about the cost of crossing you. Correcting someone gradually teaches them that your boundaries are flexible. Repeated warnings teach them that your self-respect is negotiable. People do not learn from light correction. They learn from unmistakable impact. When someone disrespects you, they are taking your measure. If your response is delayed, soft, or unclear, they decide they can continue. Once they reach this conclusion, regaining authority becomes nearly impossible. A decisive consequence must be sharp, undeniable, and complete. Not dramatic, but definitive. It must make clear that you are not someone who can be provoked twice. One decisive blow eliminates the need for another. Predators maintain territory not by endless display, but by one precise strike. The memory of that strike lingers far longer than any roar could. A leader who relies on reminders and emotional explanations teaches others how to slowly erode him. A leader who delivers a clean, single consequence establishes a line that hurts to cross. And the key: remove personal emotion. Punishment, fueled by anger, is chaotic, sloppy, easy to criticize. Punishment delivered in calm detachment is terrifying. It shows the action is not emotional, it is structural. It is not vengeance, it is law. You do not yell. You do not justify. You do not negotiate. You enforce the boundary, and then you return to silence. Your silence tells the world the matter is over, and no debate exists. People fear what cannot be bargained with. They respect what does not weaken. And they never forget when they misjudged you. But understand this clearly: a decisive punishment is final. You do not punish and then reconcile. You do not punish and then explain. You do not punish and then apologize. Doing so collapses the entire effect. Punishment is not dialogue. It is verdict. When you act decisively, the goal is not to reform the offender. The goal is to set the price of disrespect. If others understand the price, you rarely have to enforce it again. Those who punish repeatedly are advertising that their punishments do not matter. Those who punish inconsistently show that their emotions, not their principles, govern their decisions. A decisive punishment rests on a boundary that never shifts. When someone crosses it, you close the door permanently. The world quietly reorganizes itself around those who cannot be tested twice. This leads to the next law, one that determines not how you act in conflict, but how you prevent conflict from beginning at all. Law 6. Never argue. Shape influence through silence and presence. Arguments are the weapons of the powerless. To argue is to try to prove yourself to someone who already doubts you. The moment you raise your voice, defend yourself, or explain your motives to someone who has already formed their conclusion, you have forfeited ground. People do not listen to arguments to understand. They listen to arguments to strengthen their pre-existing beliefs. The harder you try to justify yourself, the more desperate you look. And desperation destroys authority. Strong men do not win through debate. They win by being the person whose silence others cannot ignore. Silence is not withdrawal. It is pressure. It forces the other party to fill the empty air with their own insecurity, assumptions, and fear of miscalculation. Presence is not about volume. It is about inevitability. When you refuse to argue, you force others to confront the weakness of their position. When you stay emotionally still, you highlight how invested they are and how uninvested you remain. And once again, the one who cares less governs the dynamic. Silence exposes your opponents. They speak more, justify more, reveal more. They chase clarity while you watch. You collect information. You observe their patterns and vulnerabilities. Arguments burn energy. Silence stores it. Presence directs it. A man who can sway a room without speaking has crossed from defending authority to embodying it. To master this law, you must tolerate being misunderstood. Let people misread you, doubt you, underestimate you. Their misinterpretations do not diminish your reality. They reveal it. You are not here to be explained. You are here to be recognized. A man who needs others to understand him seeks approval. A man who does not explain himself has already accepted the solitude that strength requires, and others follow him because of it. People adjust their tone around him. They choose their words more carefully. They feel his gravity, even when he says nothing. That is influence without force. That is command without exertion. And now we approach the law that determines how far your power travels, even when you are nowhere in sight. Influence is meaningless if it dissolves the moment you leave the room. Law 7. Craft a reputation that keeps working when you are nowhere in sight. Reputation is the echo that precedes you, an invisible messenger that enters rooms long before your presence touches the doorframe. It shapes how people speak of you in your absence, guides how they interpret your actions, and sets the standard for how they treat you without requiring your involvement. Weak men try to manage respect through constant presence, always explaining, always negotiating, always performing. But influence is not maintained by movement. It is maintained by reliability. Your reputation is not built in your brightest moments, but in your repeated ones. It forms through patterns others can observe, through qualities that cannot be faked under pressure. Anyone can imitate confidence for a day. Anyone can hide fear behind noise and theatrics. But when stakes rise, when the room tightens, when pressure strips away pretenses, the truth of their nature emerges, and it is in those moments that reputations crystallize. To build a reputation that lasts, you must deliberately choose the qualities you wish to be known for and then embody them without contradiction. If you want respect, stay composed when chaos spreads. If you want seriousness, act only when action is required. If you want authority, remain unshaken when others push for a reaction. People remember how you behaved when all eyes were on you. But they remember even more how you behaved when you assumed nobody was watching, because someone always is. Reputations are not claimed, they are concluded. The world assembles its understanding without your guidance, and the less you explain yourself, the more powerful the conclusions become. If you must tell others who you are, you have not built anything worth recognizing. Reputation is not forged through talk. It is forged through restraint. You're not respected because you ask for respect. You're respected because others have learned the consequences of withholding it. Once established, reputation does the heavy lifting. Conflicts dissolve before reaching you. Doors open without your effort. People change their tone merely by saying your name. You no longer need to issue warnings. Your history speaks for you. But remember, reputation cuts both ways. If you break your own standards even once for convenience, the shadow cracks, and once a reputation fractures, rebuilding it is almost impossible. This is why discipline sits at the spine of all influence. The world is not watching when you win. It is watching when you are tempted. A strong reputation reveals mastery of oneself, and only those who govern themselves can shape how others perceive them. This leads us to the next law, a shift from how you're seen to how you decide. Law 8. Choose advantage over morality. Most people believe morality is a universal force that sits above personal gain. But morality is not universal. It is cultural, situational, and selectively enforced. It is upheld when convenient and ignored when inconvenient, and it is often imposed by those who benefit from your obedience. Morality is how the powerless are taught to chain themselves. It rewards compliance and punishes independent judgment. If you live by standards created by others, you will become trapped by the expectations of others. You will trade opportunity for approval. You will hesitate when you must choose decisively. You will sacrifice potential for validation from people who never intended to reward you. Choosing advantage does not mean choosing cruelty. It means choosing clarity. It means understanding every situation has a cost and a gain, and your responsibility is to calculate, not moralize. A moral action that weakens your position is not noble, it is naive. A strategic action that strengthens your position is not immoral, it is intelligent. History does not celebrate the rule followers, it remembers the rule writers. To choose advantage is to ask one question: what outcome strengthens my position? If helping someone strengthens your position, it is the right move. If withholding strengthens your position, it is the right move. If walking away strengthens your position, it is the right move. Morality reacts. Strategy chooses. Men struggle with this law because they assume choosing advantage requires a cold heart. But emotions are not the enemy. Attachments are. You may feel deeply, but feeling must not dictate your direction. When someone tries to use morality to shame you, pause and ask, who benefits if I comply? If the answer is not you, then their morality is not a principle, it is a leash. Power belongs to those who act based on outcomes, not approval. Those who choose with strategy rather than sentiment become the very people others eventually call wise, even if they were hated when the decisions were made. The world rewards those who know what they are willing to do, and just as importantly, what they refuse to do. A man who prioritizes advantage is not heartless. He is simply unwilling to sacrifice his future for temporary comfort. And because of that, the world eventually rearranges itself around him. And now we reach the law that governs perception itself, the force that makes power real even before it is exercised. Law 9. Power belongs to those who can make others believe they possess it. Most mistake power for action, achievements, displays, victories. But true power is not defined by visible movement. It is upheld by collective perception. People follow those they assume others follow. They respect those they assume others respect. Influence spreads not through force, but through quiet consensus, the unspoken agreement that your presence carries weight. If others believe you are powerful, they will treat you as powerful. And in treating you as powerful, they make it true. This is why the strongest individuals never advertise their strength. They do not announce, argue, or prove. They allow others' imaginations to do the labor. Your task is not to show strength, it is to appear as someone who never needs to. You don't attempt to dominate a room. You enter as if your presence already shapes the atmosphere, the attention, the space, the narrative. These shift around you, not because you demand it, but because people sense they must. When you speak, your voice must be slow and unhurried, as if urgency itself avoids you. When you move, your gestures must be deliberate. Urgency signals fear, stillness signals command. And command is recognized long before it is understood. People study your reactions. Stay calm where others panic. Stay composed where others shake. Stay silent where others shout. They will assume you know something they do not, and in that assumption, belief is born. Followers do not follow because of your words. They follow because aligning with you feels safer than opposing you. But safety is not created by comfort. It is created by inevitability. Become the one people must calculate around. The one whose displeasure they fear. The one whose presence alters their tone without them noticing. Once people start adjusting themselves in your presence, you have won the silent battle. They are no longer responding to the world. They are responding to you. That is pure power. Unseen, unquestioned, self-sustaining. The moment you understand that power only needs to be believed to exist, you stop chasing proof and begin shaping perception. You stop trying to impress others and begin noticing who tries to impress you. And that reveals everything. But as your gravity increases and others begin to orbit your presence, a new danger emerges. Not from those outside your circle, but from the one at its center. Which brings us to Law 10. Weak men destroy themselves. Chasing love, weak men do not fall because of enemies. They fall because of approval. The hunger to be liked, admired, understood, and emotionally accepted is the quiet addiction that ruins more rising men than failure ever could. They begin strong, focused, disciplined. But the moment the world starts paying attention, they start craving more of it. Respect isn't enough. They desire affection. Authority isn't enough. They desire emotional warmth. Admiration isn't enough. They want love. And in that desire, they soften. They start giving more than they should. They start explaining more than they need to. They become available, predictable, familiar. And familiarity is where respect goes to die. To be loved is to be seen too clearly. To be seen too clearly is to be interpreted. And once you are interpreted, you are no longer larger than life. You become ordinary. A man who needs to be loved becomes terrified of disappointing others. He begins shaping himself for comfort instead of consequence. He bends, he adjusts, he gives pieces of himself away to maintain the affection of those who barely mattered before his rise. Love, when you chase it, is slavery. Love, when you attract it as a strong man, is tribute. Admiration lasts longer than affection. Reverence reaches further than closeness. Respect sustains power. Love consumes it. You don't need to reject love. You must reject dependence on it. You must remain unmoved when you are misunderstood, misjudged, or unloved. For if affection disappears when you remain true to yourself, it wasn't love, it was dependency. Enemies sharpen your edges. Praise dulls them if you allow it. This is why many men rise in power, but almost none stay powerful. The moment they taste affection, they forget what built them. The silence, the distance, the mystery, the discipline. Power is not maintained by being loved. It is maintained by being remembered. And only the man who stands slightly apart becomes unforgettable. Choose solitude over approval. Choose clarity over comfort. Choose presence over performance. For the man who becomes addicted to being loved eventually becomes a servant to those whose love he fears losing. Law 11. If you must betray, betray fast and never twice. This law is where sentiment dies and strategy begins. Betrayal is not always treachery. Sometimes it is survival. Sometimes it is a necessary correction. Sometimes it is the unavoidable cost of outgrowing people who cannot walk the next part of the path with you. But betrayal, in any form, is a cut. It severs what existed. It creates a before and an after. The mistake weak men make is not betrayal. It is hesitation. They linger. They overthink. They search for gentler timing, cleaner explanations, softer exits. And in that hesitation, the damage compounds. A delayed betrayal becomes poison. Uncertainty grows. Resentment spreads. Consequences multiply. Betrayal must be done like a blade drawn in one clean strike. No trembling, no apology, no explanation. The slower you act, the weaker you appear. A slow betrayal is cruelty. A fast betrayal is clarity. And above all, never betray someone twice. Because the moment betrayal happens once, the relationship changes forever. Trust is gone. Suspicion becomes permanent. The dynamic shifts into quiet calculation. If you betray once in return, you hand them every tool they need to destroy you later. A second betrayal creates an enemy with intimate knowledge of your patterns, and that is suicide masquerading as sentiment. Power requires the courage to cut ties cleanly and permanently. No half exits, no checking in later, no soothing the wound to look noble. That is vanity dressed as compassion. When the tie is cut, leave silence behind you. Silence does the speaking. Silence confirms that the decision was not emotional, it was inevitable. And when your presence disappears, the world begins to wait for your return. Law 12. Disappear before they can predict you. Predictability is the death of influence. Once people can anticipate your moves, your motives, your rhythms, they stop responding to you and start planning around you. The advantage dissolves. The mystique fades. The aura collapses. People fear what they cannot anticipate. They respect what they cannot access. They remember what leaves before routine forms around it. Disappearance is not retreat. It is psychological strategy. When you remove yourself, others are forced to confront what your absence means. They question themselves, replay old conversations, search for hidden intentions, wonder whether they misread your silence or underestimated your discipline. Absence turns your image into mythology. Stories form, rumors grow, assumptions strengthen, and assumptions are always more powerful than facts. Withdraw not when you are forgotten, but when you are wanted most. Leave when the room still reaches for you, not when it turns away. Every great leader, general, strategist, and king understood the same truth. To remain unforgettable, you must remain slightly out of reach. Disappearance sharpens your silhouette. It resets your value. It rebuilds your mystique. But disappearance requires courage. The courage to detach without reassurance, to leave without explaining, to trust that your absence carries more weight than your presence. Your silence becomes your echo. Your absence becomes your legend. People only chase what is vanishing. People only desire what slips away. The final question of power is never, how do I make them see me? But if I vanish today, who would feel the loss? Who would freeze? Who would panic? Who would pretend indifference? Who would wait for your return? If you've reached this point, it is because you already know life is not governed by morality or good intentions. It is governed by perception, leverage, and strategy. Those who ignore these laws are ruled by them. Those who understand them become untouchable. If this awakened something in you, write in the comments, I see the laws, and make sure you watch the next video. It matters more than you think.